YouTube, welcome to my channel, Anna Bella, and today I'm going to be doing a film review. I'm going to be reviewing After We Collided, which got released, unfortunately, in February 2020. I haven't seen After, that film, which got released in 2019, and there was apparently some hoo-ha over the rating, because in the UK it got a 12, in the USA a PG-13, and it probably shouldn't have. I've not read the book series, the After book series, which is made up of 4 books, I believe. And I just watched After We Collided because I'd heard rumblings of this and I'd not really looked into it. And I'm pleased that I watched After We Collided rather than After. Purely because After We Collided is in the UK rated 15. I love the 15 rating in the UK. I think it's an appropriate rating to have. Something that breaks up something that is really mature and for adults, but something that is for older teenagers. What people don't realise is in the UK we tend to have a society that starts at a 12 rating in how we talk and how we speak and everything, and the 15 just pushes it up. It's like in the UK Suicide Squad from 2016, which is one of my, I like it as a film, don't ask, I'm not going down that route. Got a 15 rating rather than a PG-13, which is far more appropriate for it because it features people with mental health problems, using bats as weapons and various other things that aren't really appropriate for younger teenagers, but for older teenagers from 15, they are, if that makes sense. It just gives you that assurance, and I like the 15 rating. I think that it's actually quite a good way of dealing with mature topics that aren't suitable for the under 13s but actually need to be discussed. It's yeah. I really liked After We Collided. I liked the fact that you had the nice Harden monologue to start and the recap of After, so you don't need to watch the film After to understand it. I believe that After is Tessa's story and that After We Collided is more Harden's story. For those of you that aren't aware, Harden Scott is supposedly based on Harry Styles with all the tattoos, and Harry Styles was in the band One Direction. Not that I followed One Direction. I'm loving Watermelon Sugar High. Love that song from Harry Styles' solo album. Love it. Like that. Yeah, I just sort of like, yeah, the After, I loved the summing up at the start of After We Collided. Loved that. I fully get why it was released over Christmas, because After We Collided does feature Christmas and New Year. Though weirdly for me there was no Boxing Day, because I'm from the UK. We have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, which is a bank holiday in the UK. Last year it fell on a Saturday, which meant that we got Monday off. So we actually get sort of like 3 days off. So we have Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, which is weirdly enough Jared Leto's birthday is Boxing Day. Anyway, so he would, if he lived in the UK, he would get holiday on that. In the US they don't have Boxing Day, so I found it really strange watching After We Collided. Like, they did Christmas and then they went back to work, and I was like, that doesn't happen here. In fact, sometimes we actually have a week off. You know, the week from Boxing Day all the way up to New Year's Day, people tend to have off in the UK, purely because nothing is happening anyway. Everything's shut and it's wintry and horrible and you're better off staying home. Adding coronavirus, stay home as well, yeah. I really enjoyed After We Collided. I thought the age rating was appropriate because it's about 2 college graduates who are also doing internships. But After We Collided is set sort of like after she's graduated, I think, and she's starting out on her book publishing career. I don't know quite what's going on in the book publishing world regarding interesting sex, but yeah, it's fascinating. It's interesting that there are some light links to 50 Shades of Grey. There isn't like the Red Room of Pain that you get in that. In After We Collided, it doesn't have that. It just has more mature sex, which kind of makes sense because that's like the couple that Tessa and Harden are. Yes, we do have quotes about ancient Greece, the Brontes, I am a tangled thorns, and blah, 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 and Jane Austen comes into it. they get all these, but this after kind of follows the Wuthering Heights, so we're kind of off to redeem Heathcliff, even though Heathcliff does not want to be redeemed. And in fact, can Heathcliff be redeemed? But anyway, that's the Bronte issue. This is Harden Scott. Harden Scott, like Christian Grey, also has Nightmares in the Night, though about a very different kind of trauma. So he's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, which means he's an alcoholic. It isn't a straightforward relationship, and I think that's good because we've had a lot of straightforward relationships and life isn't like that. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship. It doesn't work. There are no such thing as perfect people. There are only good people that try their best, and sometimes addiction grips them. And Harden drinks and has parental issues because of the fact that he saw his mother get raped by some people that came into their house and tried to burgle them. I'm assuming they burgled them, or did they just come in the house to rape his mother? It's not very clear. Harden was 8 when he saw this, so he's got lasting trauma for that. He's also very gifted in English literature. They always are in English books, surprisingly enough. Tessa is also gifted in English literature. There's a really, really nice, sweet, analytical accountant type character who's sort of really would like to date Tess, but it's not going to happen. Tess and Harden, though they see, this is the thing, is it a toxic relationship or isn't it? Or is it a relationship that doesn't have commitment issues? It has, we are so wrapped up when we're together that we can't enjoy being happy together. They can't find that happy place because there's trauma going on, and Tessa's got her own trauma with her own parents trying to force her to marry somebody that she doesn't want. Loving Selma Blair in this. I thought it was nice to see her again. Hadn't seen her since Cruel Intentions days, the remake of that with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Reese Witherspoon. Nice to see her, actually. She does do a very good overbearing and demanding mother in this. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a good story. It summed it all up really nicely, dealt with the issues. To be absolutely honest, I wouldn't bother with after film with the rating issue. It shouldn't have been a 12 because it's about people at college, though in the UK we call it university, so they're over 18 anyway. There is alcohol in this, but there's a frat house. I find it really bizarre because in the UK we can drink alcohol from the age of 5 at home with our parents' permission, and that usually is sort of like watered down wine, or on New Year's Day a bit of champers, which is fine, and everybody goes, that's okay. And then from the age of 16 you can have an alcoholic drink with a meal in a pub. Obviously not at the moment because of Corona, but and then at 18 you can then drink. So when we go to university, we've got people who are able to go into a pub and order a couple of pints, though I don't drink. I tend to have lemonade and blackcurrant pint, yeah. But in our society, that's how it works. So this whole business over alcohol in America is just, I fully get the history of it from prohibition and all of that, but the age range for it is 21. Well, in the UK, 21 is when you graduate and you're expected to have like an adult career. So that kind of doesn't make any sense to me. Like, they need to sort that out in America. I fully get why, but it kind of just sort of makes me go, what? You know, when you can drive and do all these other things that are adult. In the UK, at 18, we can do all of that, which is probably one of the reasons why the writer here has made Harden like this bad boy image who swears and drinks and all of these things, because UK young people tend to be a little bit older, a little bit more mature than American young people, purely because we're more is expected of them. Our young people tend to be very independent early and have their own views and opinions, purely because they are expected to be independent learners from the age of 14. It's to do with public exams, how we do our education system. But it's interesting that in America that they're kiddified, but I actually liked this series because it didn't kiddify people at college, because I don't think they should be, because they're adults learning and exploring complex adult ideas in literature and in science and in other things. If they cannot explore complex ideas in their personal lives, how on earth can you explore complex idea in your academic life? And I think that's really important, because in the UK we tend to expect our university students to be able to explore complex adult relationships at university in a safe way, as well as explore their academic work, and it goes hand in hand with the development of the person. So when at 21 you can graduate and go off and get a job and continue your adulting. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very good, nice, seasonal, and it was a bit different, because I know people say the first Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and they're right, it is, because he's trying to get to his family at Christmas through Alan Rickman and a load of bombs in a big building. But it is, and I think that we actually need more complex Christmas movies. I like The Nightmare Before Christmas, because that's also a good movie. I think After We Collide is taken from the same box as those. It's complicated, it's not straightforward. Tess and Hardin keep hitting and missing. I'm not quite sure how this is going to pan out. Will they, won't? It's not a typical will they, won't they. It's more sort of, what will they give up for the other person, and can they do it, and is their maturity, because they are young people dealing with complex issues, going to help them? And you can see that this is setting stuff up. There is a spoiler, like the homeless person that Hardin meets at the beginning is Tessa's father, and that's going to affect the relationship going forward. I enjoyed it. I found it very interesting. I understand why some people have compared it to 50 Shades of Grey, but 50 Shades of Grey is actually sort of mid-20s, so 25 round there, and that tends to be very, very adult. This is a young person's novel, and I think it's not fair to actually compare the two too much, because yes, they're similar, but they're also very different. I think that the After series could be compared quite nicely to Normal People. Similar things, similar themes, obviously without the alcoholism, but you do have an overbearing mother in both. So I think that that's quite interesting. I think that the comparison between After and Normal People could be quite good. Anyway, that's me done. Overall, I would give this a 4 out of 5. Yeah, I know it's got Hero Finds Tiffin, who plays Hardin Scott, and Josephine Langdon plays Tessa. I thought that they did really well in their parts. I liked the fact that you had a month after, yeah. It was clear, it was directed, you knew exactly where you are. I'm loving the fact that they gave you the time on things, 1 month, 2 months, and so on and so forth. Loving the fact that it was actually quite respectfully filmed, some of the more intimate scenes like that. It is a good series. So After We Collided, giving it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. I don't know whether I'm going to watch the next one. I probably will, actually. You don't need to have seen After. The little monologue that Hardin Scott does at the beginning is really good and succinct and sums everything up quite nicely. Remember, I've not read the books, and this is the first film of this series I've seen. I may explore the books because they actually seem quite good, because they link into Jane Austen and the Brontes and several other things, very much like 50 Shades of Grey did. But I think that this is going to be another one of those where we have all this stormy weather, but in the end we actually do settle down and punch out a couple of kids. So as for people who say that it's morally wrong, I don't think it is, because we know the end game. We're just getting there through a highly complicated way. And I think that that's important, because I think sometimes people think, oh, you've been dating for 2 years, why aren't you married? And it's like, well, perhaps it's not the right time for that. And I think that there has to be more flexibility with relationships, because sometimes if you marry too early, the relationship's not right and you have to wait for that. And these books are quite good at helping with that. Anyway, I've babbled enough. I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Please like, comment and subscribe. And my next film that I'm going to be reviewing is The Phantom Thread, because I really wanted to see that, because that also is about toxic relationships, toxic masculinity. Is there such a thing as toxic femininity? Who knows? And is Tessa expecting too much of Hardin because she's not had the life experience that Hardin's had more life experience, which has scarred him, and Tessa hasn't, so she's coming out like a fresh daisy, and she's trying to force Hardin to be more stable when he's not. So sometimes you have to meet people at where they are and work that way, and sometimes you have to accept that this person has an issue and it's not going to change. You just have to get in the coping mechanisms for them and yourself, and if you can't deal with it, the easiest thing is to walk away. Anyway, giving it 4 out of 5. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of After We Collide, the film, because that's what I've reviewed. I haven't read any of the books, haven't seen the other movies, so maha. But I do know where this goes because I'm good at Googling plot, because it also makes the review more interesting. Anyway, I've done.